Hello and welcome everyone to part 4 of the Valheim survival series, where we have a survival world dedicated to going and adventuring through every aspect of this amazing game, as well as creating beautiful builds to inspire you on your Valheim journey. So with that said, the agenda for today is to finish up this beautiful lakeside log cabin, because in episode 3, when we took out Eikthyr, as I mentioned, it would be nice to have a hearth and home. And yes, I do get the shelter bonus and the fire bonus when I'm like all the way over here. So that's good. You know, that's why I can have a bed there and at least I can sleep. But it's actually time to get this thing looking a little nicer, be enclosed, really plan it out, because I believe that it's about time to start thinking about a nice base before taking out the Elder Boss. So that's what we're gonna do. First of all, let's get to sleep, and then we'll go gather some resources in the morning to build this beautiful lakeside cabin. Alright, it is day 27, and the first thing we're going to do is head out into the Black Forest to get some core wood, because we will definitely need quite a bit of that to continue this build. So first what I'm going to do is pop down a few chests, which in the furniture section, and that is just 10 regular wood. And I'm just going to pop a few of those down right here. And it looks like we're already out of regular wood. But this will be for our building materials. So stones, wood, and core wood will go in these chests. So we'll just make a couple trips out to the Black Forest and grab some of that core wood especially. And then we'll go ahead and go to the meadows and grab a whole bunch of the other wood. So a good way of getting stones early game is to actually just kill a bunch of Grey Dwarves. But in last episode we took out the Eikthyr boss, so we do have the antler pickaxe to gather some stones to do some more of the terraforming that will be involved in this lakeside cabin build. So here are the pine trees, and we can go ahead and take these out. I'll also take out this fir tree right next to it. Fir trees just give you regular wood, not the core wood. But it is still really, really useful. So the pine tree fell here. We have the fir tree and one more chop, and there goes the pine tree. So I do like to get rid of stumps, and we have a skeleton archer right over here. A 1-star skeleton, actually. So we do have to stagger that. And we did take a lot of damage from those arrow shots. So you can see that we can stagger an arrow shot from a skeleton and then get up close to it and melee it. So that is actually a very nice thing. And we can also stagger a rock from a Grey Dwarf. So it looks like this guy probably isn't going to try and throw another rock at us. He's probably going to try and come, but as you can see, staggering a Grey Dwarf, we actually didn't stagger it then. But they're not terribly hard. We may encounter a troll as well, but next episode is going to be about obtaining the troll hide armor, so I will show you all about fighting trolls in episode 5. Alright, so as you can see, we only got back with quite a few. Only 38 core wood and almost 2 sacks of 50 wood, essentially, if we got rid of everything else in the inventory. Because we do not have the belt yet that can help us carry a whole bunch of items. So you will see we'll have to do quite a few trips in order to fill some of these chests. And while I have more wood here, I am just going to go ahead and make a few more chests. So I'll get back to you guys when I have enough wood and core wood to fill a few of these chests. That way I can just focus on building for a bit. Alright, so I didn't decide to entirely fill these chests. As you can see, this middle one's still empty, this back one still has some stuff, and we have some in our inventory. But I will just keep getting wood as needed. It is quite a grind to get a bunch of wood, especially early game before I have a crazy good axe. So some people will say you should probably be more in the Bronze Age before deciding to kind of settle down at a base. Now this is definitely what I'll be doing, because my version of settling down at a base is much, much more complex than most people's versions. So by the time I'm Bronze Age, not only will this cabin be done, but I'm hoping to level out all of this terrain, build a whole forging crafting room outside here, kind of like a whole workshop area, a whole farm. We're gonna have a really, really awesome little homestead here nestled in the lake and in the woods as our first base. So with that said, that is why I'm hoping to get this little home done before taking out the Elder and venturing into the Black Forest a ton more. So we're going to start working on this chimney area. And I will first begin to kind of put the trim around the window areas. That's often what I'll do first. So I'll put that there, and then the backwards wall right there. So that is essentially how I make these walls, is by putting 3 pieces of core wood, and then 1 regular wood, and a regular wall plank there. So that finishes off that wall. And then what I'm going to do is actually continue a nice little piece of core wood right across there. And now we need to actually make a little bit of a ladder because I'm going to finish off the chimney. And the reason I am doing this chimney 2 meters wide instead of just room for 1 fire is because later on in the Stone Age, I will get a hearth in here. And I'll probably even expand the chimney to be 3 wide to fit a hearth and a small fire with the cauldron on it. So that is why I'm doing the hearth and fireplaces and a nice big chimney all on this nice big empty wall space here to accommodate for having the growth as I end up growing in the game. So we do have the top here. This is how I like to do my wooden chimneys, just with the planks and these little cross pieces here. But what we're going to do so that the fires don't get put out every time it rains is we are going to actually add in even more cross pieces and end up putting a roof over the top of it. So I'll go ahead and add 1 there. Now we're going to take the 45-degree roof and snap it right into there. And as you can see here, we're going to put 2 of those. And then we're going to actually add in 2 little kind of trim pieces there. And add in another one of these big cross pieces to the very edge here. And that should be able to snap in just like so. So that looks really, really nice. So that's how I like to do my little wooden chimneys. Nothing too fancy, but it does ventilate the smoke, as well as keeping this diagonal roof over it to be able to protect the entire chimney from water damage, as well as protecting the fire from being put out. So now we can go ahead and continue the rest of the roof process. Alright, so I decided to sleep at night so that it would be a little bit brighter for y'all to see the build. I also decided to just tweak the chimney a little bit, bringing the wall all the way up so that it just looked really nice and consistent kind of on the side like that. So that is the finished wooden chimney that will now have room for the hearth once I get the hearth done. So now to continue these walls up, I like to first place a beam that kind of adds this trim around the floor. That just looks really, really nice all around. And now that we do have the official chimney up, we can also go ahead and repair all of these trim pieces that were down here that took damage from the rain. Then after the trim pieces are down, I'll often like to take... For this one, we're actually going to do a 3 meter wide solid wall here before we do a window. So we'll do a window kind of like this one, mirroring it right out on the other side here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3. And then we do a trim board here. And a pole here and here. And then we will go ahead and do a 1 meter right there. And a 2 meter right there. Trim piece right there. And a wall facing the outside, just like so. And then we'll do the same thing right here to make it all solid except for the 2 meter core wood pieces. So there we go. The house is now definitely starting to take a little bit more shape and look much nicer. So on the outside now, on the inside I do have this 45-degree roof. And then I like to bring that in on the outside with a 26-degree roof. Just to kind of tie it in like that. Just makes things look really, really nice. So as you can see, that's how it all blends in really nice to that chimney on the very outside there. Definitely looking beautiful. So I'm going to bring the floor out to, looks like we actually need to grab some more wood. So I'm going to bring the floor out to right here. This is going to be the farthest that the floor will actually come in the log cabin, and then this outer section will actually be another porch that I'm thinking of doing as another covered porch somehow, or I might just leave it entirely open. Now, because we can see that there's a bit of a terrain problem here that we'll have to take some of that hill out. Now that we do have the antler pickaxe, that's a bit too big to level. So we can go ahead and give that a couple of pickaxings. And then we can also take out this rock right here. And that should be good enough now to take the hoe. And we can go ahead and just stand on the level area and level it back out to there, just to give us more room on this corner here to work with. Then I'm going to go ahead and add 2 of the core wood poles right out here to kind of mark the location points here. So I'm going to have another double wide window right here, like I said, that mirrors this one. And then these 2 here are going to be solid walls. Now for the windows, I like to build up 1, 2, 3, like any other wall, and then I'll put 1 at the top, and then I'll simply just do the trim without the walls in between. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 little piece right in the middle, and I think that makes it look really nice for a double wide window. It's very simple, but it definitely does look pretty clean. Alright, so now the walls are entirely finished all the way up to where the front of the cabin is going to be. So, now we just need to get the roof done all the way up to here, and I'll get back with you guys once that is finished. Alright, so now the roof is out to where we want it to actually end up. But aside from just doing these trim pieces around the edges and around the sides, I also want to do these little trim pieces kind of throughout the middle of the roof. I think it can look really, really nice to essentially have some, like, essentially, you'll see what I'm talking about. We put these here, like this, and then we get the 45 degrees, and we go all the way up to the very top, like so, and we continue that all the way down the roof. And you'll see here, I'll just finish up this row and then do the rest and jump to when I'm done with it. But you can see that that kind of just adds some more texture to the roof and makes things look really, really nice. I personally really like the look of it. Sometimes I'll leave them plain, but it just looks really cool because in theory, back when the original straw roofs were made, interesting history tip right here. They actually did have a lot of wooden beams in between them and panels and cross beams to hold the straw in place, and they would kind of thatch it down essentially. That's why it's the thatch roof like that. So it just gives a little bit more realisticness to it rather than, you know, it just kind of depends. You know, some of them were kind of tied down from underneath by wires and things, while others were more laid on with wood beams and certain square tiles just like this. So just adds a little bit of texture. So I'm going to texture the whole roof, and then we'll talk about what I'm going to do on the front of the house here. All right, so now I have all of the texturing, so to speak, done on the roof. Again, it just adds a lot of nice texture. And if I jump down here, you can see that the roof of this awning here, it does not have the texture. And the reason for that is honestly just aesthetics. I like to do the main roofs of the big house with this texture, and then the little tiny roofs that are kind of the awnings or the porch overhangs without the texture. Just because, again, a pro building tip, if you mix up the materials, the variety, the orientations, the combinations, it will essentially add a whole bunch of aesthetic beauty to the build. So I'm sorry you can't really see the roof very well from here because all these sun rays are going down right at this spot, but it does look really nice. And it just adds a little bit more than having this giant flat, essentially kind of boring roof style. So again, looking at it from this side, how it kind of blends into the chimney there, I think it looks really, really good. So now we can get going on the front here, and I'm going to make the front there pretty much exactly the same as the front right here, other than this sort of walkout porch design, which will still be a little bit of a walkout porch, but only 1 block or 1 meter instead of 2 meters like this one. So essentially that is going to be the design for the front right over here, except for the fact that we won't have that lower roof. We're just going to keep it this big high roof and build all the way up to the top with a little tiny window up there, kind of like we did up there and over there. And these windows actually do help with some smoke ventilation. So if we do get torches in here and things, obviously the fire has its own chimney, but technically we don't need a chimney. If we put a fire like right in the middle of the floor here, it will raise up to the ceiling and vent out of these little holes at each end of the ceiling. But I am going to be doing a loft right here, so we don't want much smoke building up there because this is going to be my bedroom up in a loft up there. So that is the reasoning for having these little ventilations, mostly just out of a, you know, precaution to make sure that the smoke is venting properly. So with that said, let's finish off this front here, and then we can focus on some interior design. Alright, so as you can see here in the middle of gathering resources, we did end up running into a troll. So we lure him out of the Black Forest all the way into the meadows so that we have a nice open ground to actually fight him. And we're using fire arrows and the level 3 crude bow. So this is officially the first troll fight, but I will be getting more in episode number 5 to be able to actually grab the troll hide armor. So as you can see, just completely trying to avoid his attacks, we activated the Eikther power as soon as I saw the troll. But this is a bit unfortunate because when we were cutting down trees near the edge of the Black Forest, this troll did get aggroed on us, which means we'll definitely have to be careful when cutting down trees because the house could definitely be at risk. And this guy is moving really fast. And you could see there, we didn't even get hit once. So that was a pretty easy troll. We did have quite a lot of open land to take it out. And we will have to come back for that troll hide because our inventory is currently completely full. But anyways, that is how you do take out a troll, especially if you're close to the meadows. Bring it into the meadows, activate the Eikther. As you can see, we were even kind of low on food, but we still managed to dodge all of the attacks and have enough stamina to entirely avoid it. So I'm going to go stash some of this wood that I was farming to finish up the house and come back and grab the troll hide. Alright, so we did get back to the cabin now with the troll hide. We did end up getting 5 troll hide from that troll. They will drop anywhere from 4 to 5. And if we click on the workbench here, we have finally unlocked our troll armor. And I will be going through everything here in episode 5 of how to craft it, upgrade it, everything you need to know about trolls and troll hide armor. So do stay tuned for that. We also moved our workbench and chopping block and tanning rack to the outside of the cabin, because we will need some space to do some interior design. Alright, so fast forward a few Valheim days later, I am finally really happy with the state of this lakeside cabin here. So we walk up the entry here, open these 2 beautiful doors, and I did do some interior design work with what I could. We have here the chests of animal drops and such. And then we have here all of our crafting chests with some wood, some seeds, stone is going to be going in here, all of that stuff. And the balcony I was talking about is right up here on the way up. I will mention this windowsill. I did decide to put some windowsills in all of the windows to add a little bit more depth and texture. So we do come up here, and this is my bedroom. This is my treasure chest for the meantime, and some deer hide skins on the ground here. And so now we officially have comfort level 5, so I'm super happy about that to get the larger rested bonus. Have a nice little balcony here overlooking the first floor. And if we head down here, I have the storage here, which will be all of the food. In the middle chests, I'm going to be having the protein foods for health, and then in the bottom chest, I'll be having the stamina foods, and in the top ones, I'll be having plants and herbs and such. So that's kind of how I'm organizing the food. Got some cooking racks and a fire ready for the cauldron when we get that. And that'll definitely be coming soon. Right here, I have a nice little counter slash bar looking right outside again with this nice double wide windowsill here. And I'll get plenty of furniture in here and everything when I do unlock those recipes later down the road. And then I started work on a little kitchen here. Some old chests that are empty, but they will be ready for when I get the fermenters in here. I'm going to put the fermenters right here and have those next to the fire and the cauldron, and then a little bar right here with some furniture as well, and maybe a little living room slash hangout area in this area right here. So that's how it looks so far, and I will do a really, really nice little cinematic of it when it is entirely done. So many episodes from now, when I've had all the furniture in here and fermenters and I feel very complete with the space, I'll be doing a nice little tour with some music. But in the meantime, I'm super, super happy with how this build is coming along, and I definitely am very happy to continue the work on it. As you can see, we did get this whole front wall done here. We come out here, and this is what the entry looks like on this side. Just kind of have some little railings that kind of blend into the ground like they did in the front. This wraparound porch that is completed. So you can see workbench and stuff that's outside there. and a little wraparound porch walk around with a little door right over here. So super, super, super stoked with this build, and I'm definitely looking forward to beginning to flatten out all of this terrain and do the big workshop build right outside for the forge and the smelter and the kiln and everything else that I get with the Bronze Age. So do stay tuned for that. That will probably be in the next few episodes, but in the meantime, stay tuned for episode 5, where we'll be discussing trolls and getting trollhide armor and hopefully upgrading it and feeling much more ready for the Black Forest. So with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.